Planet Dolan. From encountering an axe-wielding serial killer to seeing a naked stranger taking a dump in a kitchen sink, the Planet Dolan crew reenacts some of the best true stories from our subreddit about the scariest things that have happened while we're home alone. I'm Danger Dolan, and today I'll be on Narrator. Number 10 was submitted by Just a Sec Turtle. One time, Pringle was left home alone when he was 12. He stayed up the entire night playing video games when he heard the doorbell. He went up to the door and looked out the peephole. There, he saw a man staring at him in a very creepy way. "Would you like to come outside?" he asked. Scared, Pringle raced to the kitchen and grabbed a knife. Despite being scared, he opened the door and the man charged inside and tackled him to the floor. He ordered Pringle to sit on the couch and wait for him while he locked the door. Remembering he still had the knife, Pringle stabbed the man in the leg and ran to the bathroom where he locked the door. He heard the man's footsteps as he made his way into the bedroom, then towards the bathroom. The entire time the man was laughing like a maniac. Pringle was about to call the police using his cell phone. "I'll be back," said the man as police sirens echoed in the distance. Pringle looked out the bathroom window and watched the man leap over the fence as the police cruisers arrived. He never saw the man again. Number 9 was submitted by Love Doopy 17. Pecan was spending the night at home while her mum was out of town. Around 2 in the morning, she woke up to the weird feeling that someone was watching her. So she turned over in her bed and saw someone standing next to her. It was a masked person who was breathing heavily. Pecan freaked out and screamed, running out of her bedroom. The man began to run after her, but she was able to grab her cell phone, hide in the oven, and call the police. The police showed up, but they found no sign of anyone else having been there. Pecan never slept in that room again. No, why would you sleep in that room when you can sleep in the bloody oven? What? Number 8 was submitted by the Mad Sergeant 03. Derek's father and his grandmother left him home alone while they went to the hospital to see his grandfather. Everything was going fine until about an hour after midnight, when Derek was getting ready for bed. He was about to go to sleep when he heard a window smash upstairs. He peeked into the hallway and saw a large man carrying an axe. When the man saw him, he yelled, "You're fucking dead, kid." Derek grabbed the rifle he kept in his room and closed the door. He pressed himself against the wall and waited for the door to open. A few seconds later, the door flew open and Derek jumped up. The man swung the axe at him, cutting his leg. Derek hit the man over the head with the butt of his rifle before tying him up with duct tape. He called the police, who arrived and arrested the man. The man turned out to be a serial killer who had broken into 3 other houses in the neighborhood. Derek never forgot that night. It sounds so made up. This whole story sounds so made up. Came at him with an axe. He hit him with the butt of the gun and then tied him up with duct tape. Pretty sure that only happens in movies. Number 7 was submitted by UJ979 Billtown. While his mum was out on a date, Nixium was left home alone. He watched TV upstairs before an old, naked man broke into his house. He said, "It's time to party." As the man walked upstairs, Nixium yelled at him to get out, but the man said, "Let's dance." Nixium refused, and that was when the man threw him a crazy, angry look. Just as the man was about to grab him, a neighbor came in and grabbed the man. The neighbor threw the man down the stairs before dragging him outside into his house. After that, Nixium was never able to get the sight of that naked old man out of his head. Nixium should have hid in his oven. What an amateur move. Number 6 was submitted by Teardrop8381. When Wolfgang was 8, he was left home alone while his mum was out. He was in his bedroom playing Sonic when he heard dog sounds coming from the kitchen. Confused, Wolfgang walked out of his room and saw a naked man shitting in the kitchen sink. The man's dog was sitting beside him on the counter. Upon seeing Wolfgang, the man grabbed his dog and jumped out the window. He told his mum what happened when she got home, and 4 months later the man returned. But luckily Wolfgang's mum was home. She called the police, and since then he never saw him again. Probably the same naked man that broke into Nixium's house to cry, "Let's dance." Only this guy danced with his butthole. Number 5 was submitted by My Poop Smells Like Fart. A stranger came to Gergak's door one night when he was home alone. After opening the door, the stranger said, "You're gonna die." Gergak slammed the door in the man's face. A moment later, he knocked on the door again, but this time he had a knife. He said, "Give me the cheese." Gergak slammed the door in the man's face once again. The man returned a 3rd time, but was completely naked. Of course he was. He said, cheese! Not knowing what else to do, Gogak gave him a stick of string cheese and slammed the door in his face. The man never came back. Is this the same person from the last 2 stories? Same naked man? My god. Number 4 was submitted by Wing679. Melissa was 17 years old when she was left by herself while her parents were out of town. One afternoon, the sky turned green and angry storm clouds rolled in. Freaked out, Melissa checked the weather and saw there was a tornado warning in her area. The warning said that the tornado was large and destructive. Just then, the sirens went off, so Melissa rushed into the basement and got into her closet, which was the only place in the basement without windows. She covered herself with a blanket, and suddenly she heard stuff being thrown around upstairs and windows shattering. Melissa ducked down and prayed for it to be over, thinking she was about to die. 45 minutes later, everything went silent. She left the closet, and what she saw made her cry. The house was completely destroyed. The only thing that was left was the basement. It's a memory that still haunts her. But then a naked man... No, not really. Number 3 was submitted by Hayden Degree 180. During a fierce storm one night, Sid was home alone watching YouTube videos in his bedroom. He tried to drown out the sounds of thunder, heavy winds, and pouring rain. He suddenly heard creaking from outside the window. That was when a tree from his backyard collapsed through his room. It busted some of the wall and shattered one of the windows. Even though the tree fell on the other side of Sid's room and was nowhere near him, it was still a terrifying thing that happened to him. Within a month, the tree was removed and the wall and window were fixed, thanks to homeowner's insurance. Despite everything going back to normal, Sid refused to sleep in that room whenever there was a storm. Instead, he elected to sleep in the windowless basement. Number 2 was submitted by Phantom of the Fool. One night, when he was 11, Ghost Toast's parents went out for a date night and his little sister was sleeping over at a friend's house. After playing video games for a couple of hours, he heard a knock at the door. Thinking it might be his parents, Ghost Toast shut off the TV because he didn't want to get in trouble, but he didn't hear his parents' voices. Then he heard another knock, so he crept toward the window and peeked outside. In the far corner away from the door, he saw a stranger in a black hoodie holding a gun. He turned to the window and saw Ghost, causing him to move away. That was when the man started to bang on the door real loud. Not knowing what to do, Ghost Toast just hid behind his couch crying, hoping he wouldn't see him. Eventually, the man kicked in the door, but the security system went off. The sound of the alarm scared the man and he ran away. Ghost was unable to identify the man, so he couldn't help the police. A few weeks later, the same man was caught breaking into another house which is a couple of blocks away from his. Number 1 was submitted by Duke SR8. When he was younger, Lost Fox would spend the day helping a neighbor rake leaves. One day, his neighbor walked him home so he could say hi to his parents. They walked into a house where they heard Lost Fox's mum talking on the phone and walking around upstairs. Lost Fox called for his mum, but there was no answer. So his neighbor said, "Well, it sounds like your mum is on the phone. I'll catch her another time." After his neighbor left, Lost Fox walked upstairs to see his mum, but couldn't find her anywhere. He searched the entire house, became empty. Confused, he called his dad's cell phone and asked where he was, and if he knew where his mum went. "We're at the store, we've been running errands for a couple of hours," said his dad. Lost Fox instantly got goosebumps. Scared, he waited outside until his parents got home, and to this day he doesn't know who or what him and his neighbor heard that day. Here's thanks to the folks of the Planton subreddit for submitting their stories. We have another question for you. What was the creepiest thing your teacher ever did? Let us know on the Reddit page link below. You might be featured in the future. Damn. That's it for this video. And have a good one.